And the International Racing Driver of the Year is, well, no it's not, Sebastian Vettel.
Our International Racing Driver of the Year. Couldn't be anyone else. And it really is appreciated, you coming back here. What was the magnetism, the attraction of this event that drew you back? I mean, they love you here, but let's hear your feelings.
It's difficult now to start. Well, next to you, to be honest, last year was my first time I was here, and obviously I picked up one of these trophies, and it means a lot to me because I like, you know, the thing I like a lot about Formula One is that I love racing, I love the cars, I'm very passionate, but I love, you know, the history, the tradition, and the ability to compare to, you know, previous race drivers. And I was feeling very honored when I walked down the stairs last year, had heard this nice song used by the BBC.
They're getting too much publicity tonight.
I heard this nice song, walked down, and you know, the people clapping and feeling the appreciation and the respect for what we have achieved, what I've achieved last year, made me feel very special. And this year it has been, you know, a bit more difficult to come back because a lot of people were after us, after me, and as you said, tried to squeeze me in the German TV show, but also it was a tough decision because usually, you know, it's a weekend, Sundays, when the Germans clean their cars. It was a tough decision, but as I try not to be too German, because I get a lot of...
it's good to break out of that routine.
It was actually not a hard decision.
Yeah.
A lot of former race drivers, active race drivers in the audience, and as I said, it was really special to
well, you made the right decision. We really approve of that. But talk about your World Championship year, your second World Championship year, back-to-back World Championships, on contrasting seasons. This was a season of utter domination. So what was the feeling like in comparison to the year before?
Well, I think you heard it from Jensen. I mean, I think for all of us in a way, when we, you know, start racing as a kid, as we've seen, you know, in go-karts, and then we're dreaming about Formula One or World Rally Championship, you know, and it's so far away, it's out of reach. And then, you know, you see those guys and they're like heroes. You know, you dream about maybe one day drive a Formula One car, race in a Formula One car, and then, you know, the day Formula One got closer and closer to me, my biggest dream was to win the World Championship once. And to do that, it takes some time to really sink in. But after, it just gives you so much satisfaction, and maybe things calm down because you realize that you have achieved something, you have, you know, proven to yourself, and it's something that nobody can take away from you. So I think that's, you know, the most special bit. At least that's how I felt. And starting into this year, I felt that we had so much energy because there were a lot of areas where we weren't 100% last year, and I think we were pretty close to 100% this year. So it has been a phenomenal season. Difficult, you know, if you see the images, difficult still to realize. I mean, we only finished last week, but difficult to realize that, you know, what we have achieved. So many good races, so many wins, pole positions. Sorry, Nigel. And,
records are important to you, aren't they?
Well, not important, but it's, as I said, you know, as Formula One means a lot to me, and I know a little. I'm not an expert. I wouldn't, you know, I'm not working for TV, but so I couldn't call myself an expert. I stick to driving.
None of us are. Don't worry.
It's a tough night for you, isn't it? It's a tough night.
Yeah, absolutely right.
No, so as I said, it's not as if I'm racing for records,
exactly.
but this year has been an exception. And when people come back to you and remind you of this and that, then it's fantastic. One of the first things I did last year, after we won the championship, I went onto Wikipedia and checked. My name's already up there because it's nice to, as I said, it's nice to compare, nice to see that.
Is it before you clean the car, was it, on the Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, as I started racing early, I did never get into that stereotype German.
We can see that. We can see that.
What do you mean?
A season of utter domination, as you say, but in Brazil you finished behind Mark Webber. You were beaten by Michael Schumacher today. So frustrating that it's all sort of fallen apart at the end.
And beaten by Jensen for not wearing a tie, but that's all right. I do that when I'm 30 plus.
Well done. Don't know where that leaves the rest of us. Thoughts for next year? You set, as we were saying to Adrian Newey a little bit earlier, an astonishing standard, and you want to meet or even pass that standard once again.
Yeah, I think you never go into a season and aiming to achieve less than you did the year before. Would that make sense?
That makes sense. That makes sense. But you've set the bar so high.
No, but yeah, of course I understand. But of course we try to. I think there's still things that we didn't do 100% this year, and some mistakes that we did, things that we can learn from, and I hope that we do. So surely, the competition will be high. We've seen, in particular McLaren at the end of the year being very strong with Jensen and Lewis, so it won't be a walk in the park, but I don't think it has been this year. The gaps, if you look at the scoreboard, I think have been quite big. We had a phenomenal start, but then I think the racing has been very close, and I think the real difference, I don't think our car was that dominant this year. I think last year we had a more competitive car in that regard, but this year we were a more competitive team. We were able to raise the game and just do things in a different way, a better way, and in the end that led into a good start and from a TV side maybe a boring race. But no, it's not that easy that all these things come together. So I think that's something.
So basically, what you're saying is, if you get a decent car, you'll be really good.
I'm not saying that, I would never say that. So, there's a lot, as I said, there's a lot of things that need to come together. Hard work, not just, of course I'm sitting in the car, driving the car, Mark and myself, but there's a lot of people working behind day and night, and some of them are here, and
it's a great team, that's for sure. One last thing about next year, Kimi Räikkönen. Comes back into Formula One next year. We've got, 6 world champions on the grid next year. We tried to get Kimi here tonight just to say a few words about his return to Formula One. What do you feel?
Why is he not here?
I've no idea why he's not here, but...
I was at the Race of Champions last night.
Exactly right,
and,
exactly right.
I'm trying to tell you something.
Yeah. So...
Don't interrupt. I know that's what the...
So...
I was at the Race of Champions last year. I'll answer your question later if you like. I love the bit also here, it says, stand here. As if
we all need orders up here.
So anyway, I was at the Race of Champions last night, and the last couple of years I ran away from Michael because he was chasing me to have a drink or two in the evening. And last night I didn't get to run away.
Oh, really?
And I thought maybe that's one of the reasons why Kimi's not here. So maybe I thought you know the answer.
Well, it could be. But I think you know what I'm trying to say. If Kimi was here, what kind of things might he say to the audience?
Well, I think he would be very happy because, he always like... I can't do it. I'm starting to...
That's great.
I mean, Kimi is a very nice guy, and the Finns are, different. So, different mentality, different culture, but I really like them. I had this guy, we also had him up here, as one of the nominees, Juha Hänninen, and he was at the Race of Champions, and this morning I met him in the toilet. I didn't mean to say it that way, sorry. That's not why I like the Finns, just to get this straight.
All right.
I met him in the toilet, and we had a little bit of a chat, and he said, today I'm racing the Buggy and the KTM crossbow, and basically he's not racing in the rally car against anybody, and then he said, I would love to shoot my head. You know, he wasn't very motivated, but yeah.
I think that imitation covers the whole of Scandinavia version. On one small tweak, it's Nigel Mansell. Just one small tweak, that's all it is. But you're great, very popular.
Is Nigel here?
I do hope not.
No, I mean, I have to say, you know, that's another thing I really respect. As I said, you know, last year, the moment I walk in and you have people like Jackie Stewart in the audience, Sterling Moss, Stig Blomqvist, legends, you know,
absolutely, standing
up for what we do, for what I did, and that's great. So now I lost my point, but...
No, you have made your point. You fit well into that company. Come back here for many years. Sebastian Vettel, our world champion. A great visitor. Sebastian Vettel, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe one last word. Go on.
Still haven't got my point, but
has it come to you yet?
I might come up later if I do.
Yeah, but we might see you in the toilet a bit later, and it'll all come back to you.
Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to get rid of. You know, as a German, I have to make a complaint, otherwise I wouldn't be a proper German. So, and tonight dinner was fantastic, so thanks for the catering, but next year, if I should be there, please don't use the German knives again. That's not good. I was struggling a little bit to get through the meat. Yeah. German knives, I think that's the ones that we used years and years ago, so maybe that's why we weren't that successful. So.
What was the meat tonight?
Sorry?
What was the meat tonight?
Beef, I think.
Do we know what the... Was it?
No? Lamb! Okay.
All right.
Yeah. It was nice though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All I know is that Jeremy Clarkson shot it anyway. It could have been anything. Sebastian Vettel. Andy, thank you. Great star, Sebastian Vettel. Isn't he a star, eh? What is it? Go on, back you go. And something else, by the way.
Sorry, I'm really sorry, because we were talking about
his
Nigel.
point. Yeah.
I don't want to bore you, so... We were talking about Nigel, and the really nice thing was that, you know, he was sending a note after the race in India, and sometimes this year, saying, you know, congratulations, and I think that's a very nice thing. And then you asked me to do some of the imitation.
Yeah.
But, maybe speak to Adrian. He's the real expert, and I learned everything from him. So.
All right, we will get him up next year.
Okay.
Seb, well done, well remembered. Sebastian Vettel. Who leaves not only with the International Racing Driver of the Year award, but also the Eddie Jordan Award for speed of thought.